Welcome, everybody, back to Sporting with Smitty. I am your host, Smitty. Now, Patriots finally get their first win of 2023, 15 to 10 over the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. Now, my initial thoughts before this game after the Miami loss was this is the biggest game of the season. You can't go 0-3 to start the season in a very highly competitive AFC conference right now. You cannot do it. It's almost a death sentence. And you know what? The Patriots defense came out to play. They were ready to play. The offense, on the other hand, again, very frustrating to watch. As you probably saw on the stream, it was very irritating to see some of the play calls, some of the decision making of Mac Jones. It was just a mess, unfortunately. And it still seems like this offense is a long ways away from being what the best that they can be right now. But there are some positives on the offense that I am excited to talk about today. And one of them being Zeke. Zeke showed up to play 16. He had his best game as a Patriot today so far. And that 16 carries, 80 yards, 5 yards a carry. He played well. You honestly, you saw some speed back in him. I mean, it's been a few years since I've seen him with that much speed really running through a defense. It looked great. It got me excited. And it really gets me excited to see this tandem that we got. On the other hand, Ramondre Stevenson, there was a couple of plays where I'm just like, man, that's rough. That is rough. Um, that drop early in the first quarter, or it was early in the first quarter on a 3rd and short, and it was a guaranteed first down. And he turned his head before he really had the possession of the football and dropped it, and that killed that drive. And unfortunately, it was really a signs of things to come today. I mean, he's really struggling finding the holes through the offensive line. I mean, he's a very patient runner as it is. He's not one of those type of bolt bruisers like a LeGarrette Blunt that's just going to just pulverize through you. No, he's a very smart runner. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's a very smart runner who can run, who finds his holes and he explodes through them. But when he finds those holes and explodes through them, very hard to bring him down. But he's been having some trouble this year. Maybe it's because of the offensive line. Who knows? I thought he was going to have a good year this year. Definitely coming off of a 1,000-yard season that he did last year in a struggling offense. I thought that this year would be the year for him, and it's just unfortunately just hasn't been that way so far. But that's it. I mean, the Patriots' game plan from game to game is so drastically different and can be changed at the drop of a hat. Um, it just depends. And we'll see what happens this weekend against Dallas and Jerry World. It's going to be a very big game, and hopefully we'll see what we can do with a with Ramondre and Zeke in the backfield. Now, Mac Jones it was frustrating to watch, unfortunately, because you saw him. I've always been a defender of Mac Jones, and I always will be, because you can't expect a guy to take over for literally the greatest quarterback to ever set foot on a football field and expect him to play at that level immediately. Right now, I see him at the game manager level where he can manage the game. He can basically get some good solid drives in, no stupid throws, no boneheaded mistakes where you're throwing interceptions, you're forcing it. Um, you're basically just protecting the football. And today there were some plays where you're just like, dang man, how do you miss that? And there are some throws in the fourth quarter. I mean, granted, there are some routes that were poorly ran by Juju. One of them, I think he slipped on one of the throws on the left side of the field. Um, and there's just some throws that he missed. There's a late throw that before the Jets took the field to their second to last drive, I believe, where he tossed it and he just missed the man. He missed him, and it was just not a really good throw. Um, he looked like he was struggling today, and there was a couple of very close plays that, I mean, if depending on the day, that they could have been intercepted. There was one throw that was a very tight window, and I think it was to Kendrick Bourne, who himself had another good day or a decent day. I think he has that explosive ability that I just love. But there was a play where he was right through the hands of C.J. Mosley, the linebacker of the Jets, that it definitely could have been intercepted if it was the right day for them. but luckily it wasn't. And then there was another one where it was a bad screenplay, and he kind of just flicked it. It was, I think it was in the first half where he just flicked it away, and it could have been intercepted and maybe even taken back for a pick six. Um, he it's so hard because I will always defend him until he really just has one of those really bad seasons. But Mac Jones, I don't understand the hate that he gets. I mean, I think he can be a very capable quarterback in the NFL. Obviously, a lot of Patriot fans don't believe that. They believe that he's a bum, he's sorry, etc., etc. They believe, Matt Bailey Zappi is the guy, even though what I saw against Chicago last year obviously says that he is not that guy, even though he played well against a very poor Cleveland team. But um, that's not the case. But still, Mac Jones, he needs that opportunity. I mean, this year, though, is the year that he needs to show it. And so far this year, at times, he has shown the ability to take control of the offense and make some throws and drive the team down the field. You saw it in the Eagles game in the second quarter where he was, I think, 10 of 10 with 2 touchdown passes, and he was just throwing zingers all down the middle of the field, which I don't know why they don't go back to that like I did, like I said last week after the Miami game. But um, he showed very he shows poise at times in the pocket. He's not taking sacks like he did his rookie year, and he's not taking sacks like he did last year. He's moving around in the pocket. He's trying to make plays. If he sees an opportunity to run for it, he's going to try to run for it. And granted, he's not trying to break tackles. He's not doing that. No, he's safely sliding. Um, But besides Zeke, I'd say the big surprise today was Pharaoh Brown. I mean, I didn't even know who this guy was, honestly. Off the top of my head, I saw him. I was like, wait, who is that? 86? Who? I was thinking, it's like, who is that? Pharaoh Brown came out of nowhere, scoring a big touchdown. I mean, he ran a great route. Max saw him. He exposed a hole in the Jets' defense, and he made a great catch and run. It was great, and he scored his first touchdown in a Pats uniform. I mean, he was 2 for 2, 2 targets on 2 receptions for 71 yards. I mean, what more can you say? Um, the offensive line, it's so hard. I mean, yeah, we had 157 yards on the ground, but the pass blocking is just so poor. They don't give Mac any time. They don't give him any time. And I'm sorry, Mac doesn't have the type of receivers that Josh Allen has, or he definitely doesn't have the type of receivers Tua has. So he's like, I mean, he's not going to, there's not going to be an open guy all the time in 1.5 to 2 seconds. So he's not going to be getting rid of the ball quickly. So it's really up to his receivers to find a way to get open. And just the line, the pass blocking is struggling again. It's just a mess. The penalties, the pre-snap penalties were a big issue today. The penalties overall were just a big issue today. It was just a mess. Very undisciplined football. Um, but I mean, that's how it's been, unfortunately, in the post-Brady era. It's very undisciplined football. And what more can you say? I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing, and that's how it's been for the last few years. In the Mac Jones era, even in the Cam Newton year, there's just a lot of boneheaded penalties. I gotta get Ryland. He missed a couple of kicks today, unfortunately. But I mean, I don't know. There were times where you're just looking at it like, why do you go for that at that very moment? Because the wind was just ridiculous all day. It was raining and wet. It was just muggy. It was just not a good day for a kicker, especially for a long distance kicker, 49 plus yards out. And I mean, he had a couple where actually he did make a 51 yarder, but still. Very hard for a kicker to be in that situation, especially for a rookie kicker. Um, the play calling again has been a mess at times. Just it's like if there's a penalty or a loss of a couple yards, say that they run into a brick wall. The defense plays the run well and they lose 2-3 yards, or if there's a penalty like a 5-yard penalty, um, which there's a lot of false starts. So I mean, you had a lot of 2nd and 15s. You had there's just a lot of boneheaded plays, and then you call a draw. You're calling draws up the gut in a stacked box, and you're just like, are we giving up on the drive already? Like, is there really nothing we can do here to do anything to get us out of this little area, where the little like conundrum we're in. And that's just my difficulties with this offensive play calling. Yes, I know it's an actual offensive coordinator. Finally, I mean, I was hoping for that all of last year, but the play calling is just it's very Patricia like. I mean, yeah, the defense isn't literally calling our plays like they were last year, but I mean, when you're calling screens in second and third and long situations, when your line is struggling at the pass blocking, and obviously they're not going to be blocking very well upfield either, you're just wondering, are we really giving our quarterback and our offense a chance to succeed? Because we've seen what they do when the play calling is great and they're letting them kind of go with the flow of the game, going upfield, down the middle of the field, which I've been pushing. Again, I push for throw it down the middle of the field. If it's open, it's there. That's where you're most successful. And that's just a big problem that I've been having so far with the offense. Well, going to the defense again, I mean, yes, it's Zach Wilson, and basically Zach Wilson's going to make his own mistakes. But I mean, Matthew Judon, whew, one of the best signings, free agent signings of the Bill Belichick era. That by far, that man has. I mean, we all knew he was a great player in Baltimore, but he has just jumped up 10 notches since he's been in New England, and it's been fantastic to see. I've just been so excited and so happy to see like just a rusher, just be a Patriots pass rusher, be able to rush the quarterback and bring him down. I mean, we haven't seen it since I think Chandler Jones, honestly, since honestly, I think 2013, 2014, that era before we traded in Arizona. I mean, we haven't seen a guy like that, a legitimate pass rusher for us since Chandler Jones. And I mean, we have that. And then again, honestly, I'm going to say it right now, rookie of the year candidate, screw that, rookie of the year for defensive rookie of the year, Christian Gonzalez. That dude, he's one of the best one-on-one coverage guys I've seen so far this year. I mean, the talent that he's gone up against one-on-one, A.J. Brown, uh, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and now Garrett Wilson, who's no slouch himself. He is another great receiver, and I think he's averaged in the 3 games 36 yards, receiving yards. Fantastic, fantastic. And he's already got a pick. I mean, there's there's nothing more you could ask for from a rookie who's coming in to a very tough environment. Bill Belichick holds defensive players to a very high standard, especially rookies, first round rookies. If you're coming in on a Bill Belichick defense, he holds you to a very high standard, and he has been fantastic. And I believe he's rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year already. And he has that ability. He has the ability to be a shutdown corner in the NFL. He's shown it already. And he's played against some of the best receivers in football. I mean, you see Tyreek Hill. That man is a monster. And his worst game so far this year, where he hasn't had 200 yards, was against the Patriots. That should tell you how good our defense is as a whole. I mean, after what the Dolphins just did to Denver. But I mean, again, the defense lights out. They're gonna need to. They're gonna need. They're gonna be big this weekend in Dallas. It's gonna be a big game, and unfortunately, I think New England will fall. I just hope we come there to play, and maybe hopefully we can pull off an upset. Not that I don't believe in us, it's just that Dallas is just such a great team. Their defense is just so sound. Yes, they had a hiccup in a trap game, an obvious trap game against Arizona, where they were missing a lot of offensive linemen and really a lot of their players due to injury. But I mean, they're coming back healthy. They're going to be at home in Jerry World, and they're going to be fired up. So it's going to be a rough game for New England. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Obviously, I think we're going to come and show up to play. But I think we might be looking down a 1-3 hole, a 1-3 hole going against New Orleans after. So we'll see what happens. I believe that we can do it. I believe that we can turn this thing around. I think we have the talent to do so. We definitely have the defense to do so. If we're just waiting for the offense to kind of catch up, and that's how it's been for the last few years. Unfortunately, it's been top-notch defensive play. Just the offense has been struggling. And it's been like that since Brady left. But, well, actually, since before Brady left, the offense has kind of been showing signs of struggling over the last 4 or 5 years. 2017, I think, was the last solid year where I can say our offense was the best in football. 2018 was mostly we were running the football and our defense was lights out. And 2019, our offense was just a mess. Even you could tell by Brady's frustration, but that's a whole other thing altogether. But I mean, hey, I'll take a win where we can get it. The defense, they got us that win. Almost had a heart attack at the end with the Hail Mary, but hey, a win is a win. We're 1-2, going up against one of the best in football, Dallas, in their house. Who knows? Maybe we can pull off an upset. 7-point underdogs. So we'll see. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Go Pats. Let's go.